some of the really fun activities and opportunities there are in the Scott County Regional Parks. All right, can you see my PowerPoint screen or can you see something else?
No, we see your screen. I see your screen.
Okay, great. So it should be a slide that says fun in the parks this summer.
That's
Yes.
Okay. Great. Okay. Well, thank you all so much. Again, Alyssa Miswell, Parks and Strategic Programs Manager, here to just give an overview about the parks in Scott County and the opportunities. And I know that we have been to Fish before, so some of this information might be reviewed to some of you, but hopefully there will be some really good reminders of what's offered and kind of how to access some of the information online, and then also some new updates that I'm sure you haven't heard of before. So just a summary of what we're going to cover today. I'm going to give an overview of all of our regional park facilities in Scott County and also the amenities, particularly highlighting some summer opportunities. And then I'm going to be joined by some of my colleagues. I'm going to be joined by Brent Hennon to chat about some of our recreation program offerings. And then Annie Bunyo, who's our Parks Wellness Programmer, to talk about our wellness initiative. And then I'm just going to give some other updates for the park. So hopefully everyone on this call is familiar with the regional park facilities in Scott County. And if you're not, this is a map highlighting them. We do have 4 regional park facilities that are managed by the Scott County Three Rivers Partnership. Those are Cleary Lake Regional Park and Prior Lake, Spring Lake Regional Park, also in the outskirts of Prior Lake and Spring Lake Township. Murphy-Hannerham Park Reserve, which is in Savage and on the border of Dakota County, and then Cedar Lake Farm Regional Park, which is on the southern end of Cedar Lake, just north of New Prague. There's also the Landing, which is the Landing, the Minnesota River Heritage Park. This is a really awesome history-focused regional facility that is managed by Three Rivers on the Minnesota River in Shakopee. And then Scott County Parks and Trails does also have one regional trail that is open right now, the Big Woods Regional Trail. This trail connects from downtown Shakopee through to Cleary Lake Regional Park. It was previously known as the Scott West Regional Trail, so maybe that might ring a bell, but we have since renamed it and added more signage. So these are the opportunities that the regional park system in Scott County have. There are more in the surrounding area in the different counties, but I'm going to focus on the ones that are in Scott County today. And if you have had the pleasure of going to our regional park facilities, you've probably noticed that each one kind of has its own special flair. Not all the same activities are offered at all of the parks. And so I'm going to just highlight kind of a little bit about each park and also just kind of the natural beauty that's at the parks. So at the very least, I hope something you take away from today is that our parks are a really great opportunity to get outside with your family, just to enjoy the natural spaces. One thing I really love about the regional park system is that our parks are fairly large and they really focus on immersing yourself in nature. We are a nature-based park system. So these are just some photos from our regional trails and some of our parks in full bloom in the summer with great opportunities for water access as well. If you wanted to perhaps, you're really excited and you think that, wow, I really want to go to a regional park. I remember she mentioned all those ones, but I'm not sure which one to go to. I just wanted to give you some information on how you could access the information about all of our specific parks. So all of our regional park information is hosted on the Three Rivers Parks website. If you were to go to the website, this is kind of the landing page that you would get. At the top, there's a little button that would be Parks and Trails, highlighted by the red circle on the screen. You would click that. And then you would have all of these options of the regional park facilities that are owned and operated with Three Rivers Park District. So all of these parks are not just the Scott County facilities, but all of the ones that Three Rivers manages. So primarily through suburban Hennepin County with some satellite areas as well. But if you look towards the southern end of all of those markers, you'll see the Scott County text and you'll see our regional facilities. So say you're interested in Cleary Lake Regional Park, you would scroll down in the list of parks and you would click on it. And then that would bring you to the park's individual homepage. And so these pages are really great sources of information if you wanted general information like what the park hours are. For Cleary, we do have a visitor center. It's the only visitor center within the Scott County area. And this is a great place to access park staff to answer questions about any of the regional facilities within Scott County, to manage any of your reservations. So it includes visitor center hours there as well as a phone number and an address. And at each of the park pages, there is a quick little summary of kind of what the opportunities are at the park. Like I mentioned, each park kind of has its own different flair. So if you were looking at, for example, Murphy-Hannerhan Park Reserve, it would really highlight the birding and the natural landscapes. And then at Cedar Lake Farm, we'd really highlight the lake because it's one of the great assets at the park. So on the same page, for the park page, if you scroll down under that page that we just saw, you would see an interactive map, and these do change based off the season. So we'd be looking at the summer map right now, and it gives you an opportunity to download PDF maps. So if you wanted to go out to the park, you didn't want to get lost, you wanted just to have access of all the trail options or all the amenity options from the website, you could download the use maps. And we do keep the summer and winter maps that are available for the parks online at all times. And if you wanted a more zoomed in map of some of the facilities, like at Cleary Lake Regional Park, we do have a 28-acre off-leash dog area. So it's big enough that it needs its own map. You could download a map specific to that as well. Just moving forward, this is an example of what a use map would look like for our regional parks. Still focusing on Cleary because it's our most visited regional park with a lot of really great amenities and kind of the hub that we center a lot of our programming in. It gives you on the website all of the different opportunities for recreation that there are to do at the park. So all of the ones listed on this page maybe aren't necessarily summer focused, but I will highlight those. But as I mentioned, since all of the parks kind of have different opportunities, this is where you'd see kind of what options are available at each park if you're looking for something in particular. So as you can see, Cleary has a lot of really great opportunities. And so basically, if one of those suited your fancy, you could print out the map and you could head to the park yourself. So I'm just going to kind of go through all of the awesome activities you could do this summer. Some are free and some do have fees, and I will cover that a little later on. But I really just wanted to go through the diversity of activities you could do. One of my favorite things to do in our regional parks is to go for walks or to go for hikes. All of the trails, well, I'll say most of the trails in the Three Rivers Scott County Park System are dog friendly, as long as your dogs are on a 6-foot non-retractable leash. And I have a dog that I love to bring with me all of the time. So we really like to go walk the turf trails at Cleary Lake Regional Park that double as the ski trails in the winter. But throughout our park system, we have a lot of different walking and hiking options. We do have paved trail options. Cleary Lake is well known for its 3.2 mile loop around the lake. That's a multi-use trail. But then we also do have some turf options if that's something that you're looking for. You're looking for a more rugged experience or a more immersive experience. Murphy-Hannerhan will be the place for you. We have 18.2 miles of hiking at Murphy, which is absolutely fantastic for the metro area to think about. You can be in Savage and have access to 18.2 miles of hiking. And then there is options I just want to highlight on the regional trail to do hiking as well. Though that's going to be more of like a roadside in certain areas situation. So it's all kind of the flavor of walking and hiking that you like, but there's an option for everybody within our parks this summer. Along with that, there's a lot of really great biking opportunities. So on all of our paved trails, they're multi-use trails, so you could go biking on those trails. We have a variety of different offerings. Murphy-Hannerhan Park Reserve and Savage, again, is a really unique opportunity because there's a mountain bike trail. It's very popular and it is an opportunity to be able to bike on those turf, and there's a lot of turns. And I remember when I first started, I'd never used a fat bike before. I had never seen one before moving to Minnesota. And I remember a colleague of mine took fat bikes out onto the Murphy-Hannerhan mountain biking course. And I was like, how hard could this be? I saw kids whipping around the corners and I struggled and definitely hit a tree. So it's definitely, if it's something you're interested in, it's a really great opportunity. I know it's super crowded, but I like to stick to walking on my own 2 feet. But there are options for everyone within our park system this summer. Fishing, I know that especially when the weather finally turned, there's really great fishing opportunities. I'm really excited to be able to hear a little bit from Jerry later about the Let's Go Fishing partnership that we have at Cedar Lake Farm Regional Park. But we do have fishing opportunities within our parks, both at Cedar and at Cleary. There are fishing piers. And I just wanted to highlight that we are doing some shore fishing improvements at Cedar Lake Farm Regional Park that are set to be in the ground in 2024. So that's very exciting. At Spring Lake Regional Park, currently that park is not developed on the lake, but also in 2024, we will be developing the whole lakefront parcel. It's about 10 acres on Spring Lake. It's on the north side of Spring Lake itself, and this will have multiple opportunities for fishing and lakeside observation. So it's going to be really, really exciting. But fishing is, a really great opportunity to enjoy the nice weather, and we do have some great fishing in our parks. I wanted to highlight too that we do have some play areas that are really great to access. I love the Cedar Lake Farm one shown on the left because it's just so odd and unique to me. But kids really love to swing on this rope swing thing. I haven't seen anything else like it, but it's right alongside the water. So it's you can't see it from this view, but it's a really picturesque place to be able to play. I think probably the most exciting opportunity this summer is paddling. We do have paddling options at Cleary and Cedar Lake Farm, and Murphy Hanrahan, but we do have rental opportunities available both at Cleary Lake and at Cedar Lake Farm. There are more limited rental options at Cedar Lake Farm Regional Park, so Cleary is going to have a more robust and more offerings. And I included the rates that were posted on the Three Rivers website for that. And if you wanted to make a reservation, you could make a reservation online, or you can make one on site, though my experience is that they fill up really quickly. So if you're interested in making a reservation, it's great to plan those opportunities. But we do have, different options, whether you want to stand up paddleboard, a canoe, or a kayak to be able to explore the lake. Also at Cleary, so there's picnicking available at all of our parks, but I also wanted to highlight that at Cleary, we do have some yard game rentals. So if you wanted to rent some cornhole bags, you could do that at Cleary, or you could rent some horseshoes. They're really affordable rentals. So if you're kind of there for a picnic with your family and realize that, you wanted a fun activity to do, stopping by the visitor center, you would be able to pick up some of this equipment to keep enjoying, your afternoon at the park. And then swimming, there are swimming opportunities available at Cleary and Cedar Lake Farm once the weather is a little bit nicer, and then the beaches will post that they're open and available for swimming. So it's a great way to also enjoy the water if maybe you're not a paddler. And then at Cleary Lake, we also have a 9-hole golf course. There's also a driving range and a foot golf course available. And if you're unfamiliar with what foot golf is, it's like playing golf, but with soccer balls, and the holes are like larger buckets in the ground. So I'm not a golf person. I don't have that kind of precision, but I am interested in being able to kick a soccer ball to play golf. But it is a really popular amenity. There are programs for all ages available at Cleary. We've got kids programs, there are women's specific programs. So if it's something that you're interested in, or something you're interested in picking back up or trying for the first time, Cleary's a really great beginner friendly course with also close proximity to all other types of recreational opportunities. Okay, so that's clearly there's a lot of really awesome things you can do in the parks this summer. And I just want to kind of chat about how some of those, most of those opportunities are free, and some do have a fee associated with them. So within Three Rivers Park District, certain activities require what's called activity passes. And so this is the list of activities that require like an activity pass or a permit, if that's easier for you to think about. As you can see on here, not all of these, most of these I didn't really mention. They're either not summer activities or they're not offered in these particular parks. The one indicating for swimming, that's for swim ponds, and we don't have those in our Scott County parks. I did forget to mention though that we do have horseback riding trails at Murphy Hanrahan Park Reserve, which is a really great unique offering if that's something you're interested in. obviously you have to provide your own horse for the trails. We don't have horses to rent out, but that is one of the activities that do require a permit. And also, I think the most popular one is our dog off leash areas. For example, for the dog off leash, you can either buy a day pass to enjoy the off leash areas at Cleary, Murphy, Hanrahan, or Spring Lake Regional Park, or you could buy an annual pass. And then those passes can be reserved online, or you could call the visitor center at Cleary Lake to help facilitate those reservations. But while there are some that have fees, these are all the free activities that you can do. So a lot of the ones I highlighted are free. They don't require any payment. Just as a reminder, our regional parks do not have any fees for parking in them. All of our parks are free to enter and full of adventure. That's a saying that Three Rivers really loves to use. So I really implore you, I can see that I still highlighted some of the winter activities. I apologize about that. But I really implore you to try to get out this summer and enjoy the parks through one of the many different opportunities. And I'm always available too, if you're curious about what you can do where, or if you need a refresher on some of this information, you can always reach out to me and I'm happy to connect with you and your group. And I know that Fish Before has heard about the Recreation Pass Plus program, but I just want to give a little bit of a reminder that if some of those fee activities were of interest, or if you were interested in equipment rentals and you or your family or your group is experiencing financial hardship, you can definitely apply to be a part of the Recreation Pass Plus program. It's available for families that live in Hennepin and Scott County. And if you qualify for a state or county assistance program, you're eligible to sign up for this. The benefits include free equipment rentals, discount on programs and events, and then also those free activity passes or those permits that I was mentioning. So the summer is a really great time to be able to use this pass because you could do your free paddling rentals and really have a great family activity to enjoy just the beauty of our parks and be able to do something active as well. And if you're interested in applying for that program, you can apply online or call the number on the screen. You can also reach out to me directly. I manage the Recreation Pass Plus program for Scott County, and I'm happy to connect with you or any families that you may know that might be interested in sharing this opportunity with them. It does renew on an annual basis, and you just have to re-indicate eligibility. But other than that, there's no other, there's nothing else that a family would need to do but be able to show their card, and staff would take care of the rest. All right, so I just gave a really quick and full example of how all of the great things you can do this summer in the parks, but I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Brent, who's going to be able to talk about the programming side of it and talk about just kind of the really awesome things that him and his staff are doing this summer in Scott County.
Hey everyone, thanks for having us and being here today. Can everyone see me? I still see Alyssa's screen, not my own. Can folks hear me?
I can hear you, Brent.
Perfect. So my name is Brent Hennen, and I work with the Outdoor Recreation School of Three Rivers Park District in partnership with Scott County. And really what we do is any of the things that you see on the screen, fun outdoor recreation activities, we have programming, whether it's a single day or a couple hour program up to, a 4-day long camp, and doing any of these sort of recreation activities. So just kind of a highlight for what's happening in June. Well, all summer really, we offer anything from a family archery to beginner archery. We also have 50+ adventures. We have a 50+ adventure canoeing, family canoeing happening in June. We've got a family fishing happening in June. Geocaching. We also have a little bit more in-depth lesson about kayaking. So if you're a kayaker but just are looking to really hone those skills, we have a kayaking essentials for women class being offered in June as well. We also have some really unique opportunities that are less lesson and more of just a fun adventure. A good example of that is our full moon canoe. So we go out and we canoe under a full moon, which is really a great opportunity just to get outside and be outside and enjoy the lake in a completely different world, it feels, so, which is really, really cool. So like I said, the opportunities that we are offering are mostly at Cleary and Cedar Lake Farm. We are currently also working on, well, with Alyssa and the Scott County folks as well, on some shoreline fishing improvements at Cedar Lake Farm to create more access for fishing opportunities for folks there as well. The other thing that I really would love to plug is we do adapted recreation activities. So really, in an ideal world, we would have full integration. So any person would be able to come to any program, and we would be able to accommodate or provide the best experience possible. Though there are some prerequisites to, outfitting canoes for folks, or outfitting a boat with certain extra tools that will help a person who has those special accommodation needs. So the adapted recreation programs that we run are really, really cool. So if you all know of any folks in your circle of influences that would benefit from that, you can reach out to Alyssa and chat with her about that, and she will most likely send you our way. So how our programs work in the summer is that they typically open halfway-ish through the month prior. So our June programs will go live on our website, and I'm glad that Alyssa's popping over to this. So if you click on programs and events, on May 18th at 8 a.m. they'll go live. So you'll be able to click on programs and events, and then the next page will bring you to some options to select either the park that you want to go to, and then you can kind of filter through the options there, or the one way that I find helpful if you're looking for something to do on a specific date, the program calendar is really helpful. It can be a little bit overwhelming if you don't have a specific date you're looking for something, but if you do have a specific date, it does a really great job of listing every single program offering in the Park District, including other locations as well, but Scott County particularly. So it's an awesome way to just get an idea of what's going on that day. Or even if you don't have anything planned that weekend and you're wondering, hey, what can we do today? That's a great location to go see what there are for options. And there's a listing of all the programs that we have for the month of May. Awesome. Does anyone have any questions about the outdoor recreation school, or what other programs that you're interested in, or offerings that you're interested in, or questions about navigating or how to get to us? There's also one thing I didn't mention. There are also a lot of summer camps for youth in particular that we offer. And those are great opportunities for kids to come spend 3 to 4 days in the park. There's whole day camps, there's half day camps, and get to know other kids their age from their community. So, and also be doing fun recreation activities. Some of them are sampler camps where we do a little bit of everything, and others are really, really focused in. So we have archery specific camp. We have a really cool mountain biking camp where you hone in your skills on mountain biking. You basically spend the week at the single track at Murphy-Hannaran. There's also golf camps, as you see a picture of on the top there. So really lots and lots of options for youth and families. And we have some smattering of offerings for adults and women, and 50+ adventures as well. So a good breadth of opportunities.
Thanks so much, Brent, for sharing. And if I haven't seen any questions pop up, but maybe at the end people can ask all their questions too at once, and we'd be happy to field any questions about the parks or programs or the other things that we are updating.
Alyssa, I'm sorry, I have a couple questions. I just
Sure.
wasn't quick enough to unmute myself. When Brent was talking about the programs and he was showing some examples of, there were some photos, I think it's still on our screen, of youth golfing, it looks like, and then also perhaps an art camp or a nature and art program that you're we're holding. For the youth, do they have to bring their own golf equipment for a program like that? And also when it comes to art supplies or whatever it may be for your educational programs, do you supply some of the equipment, or do people have to bring and provide their own?
That's a really great question.
In most scenarios, the equipment is provided. There's obviously some benefit to bringing your own equipment. That way you're getting used to utilizing whatever equipment it is that you will take home with you. But yes, most definitely, all of the activities that the Outdoor Recreation School offers, the equipment is included in the fees.
And then just to comment on the art photo, the photo that you're looking at, that's actually one of our wellness programs that's new to Scott County this year. And I have Annie Bunio coming on in just a few slides to talk about those opportunities. So.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I did want to add about the golf. I know there have been programs where golf equipment has been included in some of the registration for camps, but I do know that there's been some supply chain issues, so I'm not positive if that is the case. But if you contact the visitor center at Cleary, they would be able to give you a lot more information on golf specific as well programs.
Thank you.
Great. Any more questions before we move on to some of the other updates going on in the parks? Okay, well, we'll have time for questions at the end. But moving on, so I just wanted to do a quick introduction to this new initiative going on in Scott County. We do have a Parks Wellness Initiative that Scott County has been working on for about 2 years now, and working with our partners in public health and also our community partners to bring a new type of programming to our Scott County parks. So the goals are really just to introduce a new wellness and mindfulness focused programming option to be able to explore the outdoors in a different type of way. And I'm joined today by Annie Bunio, who's our Parks Wellness Programmer, who is taking the lead on coordinating and designing and actually programming a lot of our wellness programs within Scott County. So I am super excited to have her share a little bit about the initiative. Had we been in person, she was going to lead us on an abridged wellness program, but I have no doubt that Annie will be able to share her passion and just the benefits of this new initiative happening in Scott County.
Thanks, Alyssa. Yeah, thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to share about this new opportunity in the parks. So essentially, as Alyssa mentioned, it's kind of increasing the diversity of programs we are offering within the parks system, focusing more kind of on overall well-being, including mental, physical, and that social emotional health. And so there's a lot of benefits behind spending time in nature. If any of you have left time in nature feeling a little bit more relaxed, maybe a little more connected to those you've been with in the parks. There's lots of studies and science showing that time in nature has lots of benefits. It lowers our stress and anxiety. It helps us with connectedness, whether that's connectedness to nature and the environment or with others that we're sharing those experiences with. It also has lots of cognitive benefits. So increasing your focus, increasing your actually memory, as well as creativity. And then it also has physical benefits, enhancing your sleep as well as your immune system functioning. So I could talk about the benefits of spending time in nature. So if you have more interest in hearing about that, feel free to reach out to me as well. But some major goals, as Alyssa mentioned, is kind of offering different programs. And part of that includes inviting and welcoming new groups to the park that maybe don't have as much interest in our rec programming. So we're really trying to increase welcome through this initiative as well, and also reduce barriers to programming. So these programs that we're offering are all free. There is no fee associated with these wellness programs. And I'm trying to be very mindful in Scott County, mindful as to tackling barriers that individuals might be facing. So whether that's interpretation needs or transportation needs, really trying to coordinate with anyone who wants to be involved in these programs but are facing barriers. Anyone can reach out to me or Alyssa, and we'd be happy to work with individuals or groups to get them to the park. And then another thing is just to support Scott County communities. It really aligns with your initiatives of creating healthy communities and connected communities. So with that, increasing the offerings for these wellness programs is going to have long-lasting impacts and health benefits on Scott County communities. So you can go to the next slide. Perfect. So what does that look like? I already talked about these programs are going to all be free. They're beginner friendly and low impact programs to make anyone feel welcome and meet them where they are at with their engagement with nature. We have lots of different offerings. You saw a picture of the nature journaling. I'll also be offering pretty regular wellness walks. There will be trail tours just gauged at introducing parks to people, getting them used to how to read a trail map, showing them what different activities you can engage with in the parks. So kind of that introduction and warm welcome to the park. We also have some contractors who will be running programs. So doing some movement, Tai Chi, Qigong in the parks, as well as some yoga, beginner friendly and somatic yoga experiences. We also do family events. So I'll be doing some mindfulness based scavenger hunts with families, as well as some reading and creative nature building programs as well. And then I also am very open to creating more programs. So if there's a need in the community or a desire for something that isn't being offered in the parks, I would love to collaborate with you with your ideas and our community members as well. So please reach out. Additionally, we are offering both public programs and private group offerings. So I'm really looking forward to, I've built a few partnerships and we'll be offering some private programming, but definitely continuing to do community engagement. So if you or a group that you know of would be a great fit and are interested, please reach out. I would love to schedule something with you. And again, really focused on meeting people where they're at and reducing those barriers. So don't let that be an obstacle to engaging with one of these new programs. I will also be sending out an e-newsletter each month with offerings of public program offerings. And so if that's something you're interested, please reach out to me. I can get you added to that distribution list. And going back to the registration piece, up in the upper right-hand corner of that registration website, there's an option to type in a keyword search. And so all of my programs have the keyword wellness attached with them. So if you are looking for what are the wellness offerings through that online registration system, you can type in the keyword wellness. I also don't want the registration system to be a barrier to individuals and know that navigating websites is not always friendly for everyone. So people can also contact me by phone or email to register for any of my programs as well. Great. And then just kind of taking a breath to discuss what a lot of my programs incorporate. And we've been in a Zoom meeting for a long time, so now I can ask you to participate and give some input. So how many of you have ever heard of mindfulness before? You can feel free to put an emoji or raise your hand. I know some of us have yeah, great. I see some thumbs up. Awesome. Oh, is there a question from Caitlin, or are you just saying I see a hands up, so feel free to jump on, Caitlin, if you have a question. But what is mindfulness? Does anyone want to give a suggestion of what mindfulness means to you? No question. You can also type it in the chat if you don't like unmuting yourself. What is mindfulness? I'm really good at wait time. So a moment to appreciate and focus, taking time to reflect and just be in the moment. Thank you, Samantha and Lindsay. Awesome. Anybody else have ideas of what mindfulness is? Yeah. Taking time to, oh, I love this. Everyone's chatting. This is great. All right. So I have taking time taking a moment for yourself, taking time to be with yourself, being aware of yourself and surroundings, and awareness of the here and now. That's all wonderful. You are all experts on mindfulness, being present without judgment. Thank you, Tamara. That is a huge part of mindfulness. So it is, like you all mentioned, it is being present in the moment. And I like that Tamara added that without judgment. So our minds are constantly racing, right? We have tens of thousands of thoughts every single day. And often our mind is going from one thing to the next, and there's lots of competition for our brain focus. So it's normal, right, to have things that are pulling us out of that present moment. So a big part of mindfulness is, again, not judging when you do have distractions. So a lot of my programs, well, can anyone think of why nature might be a good space to offer mindfulness? Again, you can unmute or chat. Nature is calming, technology free, no screens. Thank you. Love that. How many of you have ever been in nature and just had your mind, you see something or you hear something and it just automatically draws your attention? You can give an emoji or a hand raise or a wave. Anyone? So much to be aware of. Nature encompasses us, also an original place for us as humans. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so nature is just inviting us to engage with it. It's so sensory. There's so much to see, hear, feel, all out in nature. So it really offers a really wonderful space for us to be present and engage, and then really open up to all those benefits and health benefits that we talked about in the beginning. So again, my programs are really focused on creating a space where we can be present with one another, engaging in nature and feeling some of those health benefits, the reduction in anxiety and stress, being connected to one another and to nature. And all of my programs are really focused on giving participants tools so that they can engage in these practices on their own. There's not a lot of things and stuff and kayaks or different pieces of equipment that are needed for my programs. And that's intentional so that individuals in the community can go home and practice these wherever they're at. So because I'm not able to guide you in a mindfulness activity outdoors today, I do encourage you just to take 5 to 10 minutes today or soon when you feel comfortable. Maybe it's not in the 90-degree heat today, but just to go outside, take 5 to 10 to 15 minutes for yourself, go outside and pick one of your senses to focus in and hone in on. Take a few breaths, set an intention, and just decide, I'm going to focus on what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, maybe it's what you're feeling, and go be outside, focusing in on that sense and see what you notice, see how you feel afterwards, and see what it's like to kind of engage in those, in that experience. Before I kind of wrap up, is there any questions that people have for me?
Annie, I just wanted to ask if you wanted to add about the nature journaling and how we provide those for them.
Yes, for our programs for the nature journaling, we do have a partnership with SHIP, the statewide health improvement program at Scott County, and so they are providing graciously all of the journaling materials for our nature journaling program. So anyone who registers will go home with their own nature journal to continue to engage with nature on their own. Yay, thanks for the celebration, Rocky. Great, thank you so much for this time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Annie. And all of our contact information will be at the end of this presentation. I'm happy to share this information out with everyone. I just have one more little thing to share with everyone. Clearly, we're very busy and we have a lot of really great things going on this summer in our parks. So I really hope that everyone on the call finds some time to either get outside, whether it's your backyard or if it's in our regional parks. But I just wanted to share some other updates. We do have several job opportunities at Three Rivers and within the partnership with Three Rivers and Scott County, whether those are seasonal positions or full-time. So I implore you to, if you want to work where you play, to search our job opportunities. And for our seasonal jobs, we do hire as young as 14. So if you know someone who's like really looking for some great work opportunities, they can have a spot at Cleary to really get to spend more time at the park and help with visitor services or with golf. We do have some volunteer opportunities coming up as well. As part of some of our natural resources work, we're doing some pollinator habitat bolstering and restoration at Spring Lake Regional Park. And associated with that, we're working with a partner, Great River Greening, to do some pollinator monitoring. So there are going to be a few dates this summer where there's going to be some bee monitoring at Spring Lake. I included the event. It is hosted by our partner, Great River Greening, but you can also reach out to me and I can help connect you with those opportunities. And then I just wanted to share one awesome thing that we're doing. We work really hard to have partnerships within the county, within our community. And Scott County currently is working on a storytelling partnership with Scott County Libraries. We're inviting everybody who's familiar with the parks or just nature within the Scott County border to share their story, to share their poem, to write down their memories. And submit them for potential publication. Your submissions could have the chance to be published in a book that will be housed in the Scott County Library, and all submissions will be used to help make improvements in our future park development projects. As I mentioned before, we are working on our development at Spring Lake Regional Park. And if your story or memory is relevant to Spring Lake or the natural area around it, your submission could have a direct impact on just kind of the flavor of how everything is developed on the lakefront within 2 years. So it's really exciting. This opportunity is hosted on the library website. I included it there. The book that will be published is called River Bluffs to Big Woods. We're really excited about this opportunity, and submissions are being accepted until May 30th. So we're really excited. We do have some submissions already, but please share it with your creative-minded colleagues or friends, or if maybe this is an inspiration for you yourself to share that story of the time you went on a hike and it changed your life. Maybe this is the time that you get published for it. And with that, I really just want to thank everybody on the call for listening to all of our information about the parks. I'm sure that Brent and Annie both would agree with we could talk for hours about all of the opportunities. We all really like what we do. So I included our contact information and kind of if you have questions about certain stuff, who to call or who to email. So again, thank you all so much for your time, and we're available if there are any questions now or after this presentation via email.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Alyssa, for your presentation. And Annie, that nature picture looked amazing, and just the thought of being mindfulness and getting away from our screens and just becoming more aware of our surroundings and peace from within. It sounds like a wonderful thing you're doing for the residents of Scott County. So thank you so much for that. One follow-up question I have is when it comes to registration and deadlines for your programs, are your programs available to be registered for now? Does registration continue through the summer? Or how does that work if you want to sign up for something?
That's a great question. Thank you, Bethany. My programs are similar since it's tied with the Three Rivers registration, they open up kind of mid to late month for the following month. So our June programs will be going kind of live on their website. I think it's May 18th is when the June programs will come out. However, I just put that in the chat, but if you want to be a part of my email distribution list, I will just have kind of all of my programs for the summer. My programs don't require registration, so people can drop in. Registration is nice because I do send out emails with some detailed information about where to meet. But people can also email or call to register for my programs if that's easier than navigating the website.
That's wonderful. So we will check the chat, and then was that information also on the PowerPoint? I don't recall
Yes.
just now. Okay, so after this meeting, we will send out the recording, and if Alyssa shares her PowerPoint with us, we will send that out so you'll have all the information to you again. So thank you so much. Are there any other questions before we go fishing? All right, well, now we have Jerry Hughes with us from Let's Go Fishing. And he is going to tell us about his program, or the program, and he's all ready to go. Welcome, Jerry.
Thanks a lot. Elise, I assume you'll just flip the screens as I need to move forward, correct?
Yes, just let me know when you want the next slide and I'll switch it.
Okay. Why don't you go to the next slide? Anyways, yeah, my name is Jerry Hughes. I'm the co-chair of Let's Go Fishing. And basically, we are a nonprofit organization to risk the lives of individuals who are bringing the healing of nature through fishing and boating excursions. And what that means is basically we've got about 85 organizations who have registered to have access to our program that are made up of independent living, nursing homes, veterans, and also adult special needs. There's organizations out there who actually provide programs and services to special needs. They pick them up at their homes, and from time to time they schedule the boating excursions with our organization. Basically, our program runs from June to August, and basically what that really means is that we have schedules that we run from twice a day, Monday through Thursday. We have a 10 o'clock to 12, 1 o'clock to 3. Basically, we do not basically, but we do not have any children programs on our boats. That's primarily because of our insurance. But Hennepin County has a Let's Go Fishing chapter. They have 2 boats, and they do have children's programs there. So they do offer children's boat excursions on that particular lake in Hennepin County. We've had a great partnership with Scott County since 2015. So we're a 7-year-old program. Basically, all our operational expenses in running this program are through donations. So basically, we have anywhere from a 12 to 15K expenses to run the program every year. Why don't we go to the next slide, Elisa? So anyways, the partnership with Scott County in Three Rivers has been a great program over the last 7 years. Basically, we use the Cedar Lake Farms Pavilion as our hosted site. So that's where we keep all Let's Go Fishing information as far as our rods and reels, our anything that goes on the boats and so forth is at that location. That's our house site for our pontoon. And basically, this allows us to have a great opportunity to use their facility for the organizations who use us. One of the things you probably can't see down the side here, but that picture shows a dock going out to the pontoon. Basically, we've got golf carts that we use to get people down to the dock if they have a hard time getting down from the pavilion to that dock. We give them that service. The actual organizations can bring their transport vehicles right down to the pavilion. So we have a way to get them down there. So it makes it really easy access to the program. So it's really an ideal situation for the program. And what Three Rivers does for us, and they do a fantastic job. They put our lift in every year. They give us a barn to store our golf cart. They check our gas every day. They put gas in the pontoon ready for us. So when we get there, we're really focused on the organizations and the riders. And it's obviously Cedar Lakes in New Prague, but we actually get our 85 organizations who are registered. We probably get a good 50 to 60 every year that come from all over the Scott County. Next, Alicia. So, yeah, we have a strong alignment with obviously a lot of the discussions that were here today. One of the things I just want to put a plug in for the wellness program, and you'll probably like this. When we take our organizations out on our fishing and boating excursions, it's not just about getting to a fishing location, which they're really excited about, but we give them a little tour, probably 35 to 40 minutes of tour of the lake before we actually do the fishing, depending on the makeup of the group. So they see eagles, they see shorebirds, they see other deer, they see other things from that boat, and you can just see the smiles that come over the faces of these individuals, because obviously wellness programs for all ages, but obviously the ages that we're taking out are pretty much elderly folks. But I just want to put a little plug in for the wellness program. So yeah, we have a strong alignment of what we do here, what I heard today on the phone call. Our goal is, from a county perspective, to advance safe and healthy in livable communities through citizen-focused services, which is obviously focused on the organizations and the volunteers that support us. I'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. But again, the Parks program has been fantastic. Without that program, it'd be very difficult for this program to support the overall Scott County communities. Next. So a little bit about our metrics. Basically, in 2021, we had a half a season due to COVID. So we only went 6 weeks last year. So last year, we only served a little over 700 riders. This year, we'll serve probably close to 1,600 riders. That's normally what we have. As I pointed out before, if all our organization riders come from all over Scott County, we make it very easy for them. We, on our website, basically they log in and they register themselves as an organization, and then we give them a password, and they can actually log in and schedule the participants to come to the boat excursions based upon the availability and so forth. And that obviously allows us to communicate with them through preparations of what's going to happen when they actually get to the site. One of the things that we do, we provide everything, as you can see. We provide the rods and reels. We provide everything that makes it safe for them to get on the boats. So the only thing they have to do is show up. We give them water on the boat. We actually have sunscreen on the boat if they don't bring it. So it's about them getting on the boat and enjoying the afternoon. We are basically we've been a 501(c)(3) since the beginning. When we started in 2015, the Wilmer office actually started Let's Go Fishing for the state of Minnesota. So at that time, there's probably 16 chapters throughout the state of Minnesota. Now it's probably down to about 12, primarily because in 2018, they asked all the chapters to go solo. So what that means is we had to cover all our expenses to run the program. We just use some of the back office services like the scheduling system and the group insurance and things like that. But that's a little bit about the background of where we are from a organization perspective. We actually have approximately 1,000 registered volunteers. And we basically normally have around 60 to 70 active volunteers every year. We're currently actually still looking for volunteers. We're actually going to be training 28 new volunteers starting next week. So we've had some really good contacts throughout Scott County of how we solicit new volunteers, either through social media, Facebook, or the Scott County Volunteer Community Organization. Next. Board members. Most of the board members make up the volunteers that are part of the organization. We have 7 active board members. I call them advisory board members. Obviously, we're nonprofit. We don't get paid to be board members. But our goals this year are primarily to make sure we're following CDC guidelines. Last year, for example, because of COVID, we went beyond what CDC stated. We were actually cleaning all the vests in between each particular boat excursion. We had a device that actually we sprayed them down to make sure they were clean and so forth. We want to make sure we continually do a good job communicating with our volunteers and facilities to make sure that they can continually use the service and understand what has changed with that particular services from year to year. We definitely need to do more on the, I call it sharing our stories, especially with our sponsors. As I noted, our organization is run only by donations. Although we get some donations from the organizations who use our services and programs, most of our donations are from private organizations. So we have to make sure we keep them in a position to understand how we're using those monies and what it's being used for. Because without those donations, we wouldn't really have a program or a service. Next. So up on the screen, these are just some general websites if you have any interest. That first website is a YouTube video, really kind of talks really about the Let's Go Fishing as an organization and a lot of the programs that we just went over. Our website is there. If you have any interest in wanting to use our program and service, you can go to that website and you can actually register to be in the organization to use it. We do have a Let's Go Fishing coordinator that is actually part of Three Rivers. We pay her salary, obviously through our donations, but we have a coordinator who is part of our volunteer group. So starting next week, when we're really starting the training, getting ready to open up in June, if you went out there and said, yeah, I'd like to start looking at how my organization could use your services, you could go and try to register. If you had any issues, you would call our Let's Go Fishing mobile phone and should be glad to walk you through how to get that done. And we obviously have a Facebook connection around the organization. So at a very high level, that's who Let's Go Fishing from Scott County is, and I'll be glad to take any questions you may have.
Jerry, this is Jane Wiley. I didn't catch whether or not you said the people who go on the boat need to purchase a fishing license.
Yeah, great question. They do not have to. We have waivers. So we have everybody who goes on the boat gets a DNR waiver for fishing. No, they do not need a fishing license. And the only time they would get a fishing license is if they told us ahead of time they want to take the fish home with them, then they would need to show a fishing license. Otherwise, they don't need one. 99% of the time, these individuals aren't taking any fish home. They're just looking at catching fish, taking photos of the fish. We give everybody who comes to our service, we give them a photo, a group photo, and basically they get photos on the boat of fishes that they're catching. So, great question.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Jerry?
Well, come on, there's got to be some questions out there.
There's got to be, or else, Jerry, I'm going to ask you to tell us a fish story. Excuse me.
Well, I can tell you one quick story where because 90% of the time, the first thing we do is when the organization gets transported down, we welcome them. We verify how many wheelchairs they have, because if you have wheelchairs, you're going on the boat, and we got a way to actually take seats off of the boat so the wheelchairs fit. So the max we take on the boats is 10. So we have 10 from the organization, then we have a captain and a crew. So most of the time people want to fish. Sometimes they just want to take a boat tour. So we'll take them on a boat tour for an hour and a half. But there was one day we're on the other side of Cedar Lake, and there was a deer swimming across the lake. Okay, now if anybody's been at Cedar Lake, that lake is pretty wide. So I don't think this deer is going to make it across the lake. So I was captaining the boat. I just turned on him, and I kept on going back and forth, and I got him to go back to the shoreline. So got him back on the shoreline about a half hour later. Other people took videos, but I've never seen a deer try to swim across a lake before. So he must have got scared off or whatever. So that was kind of interesting. But these people love to fish. They get a big kick out of it. Not too often we get skunked taking them out fishing. Usually they're catching a lot of fish, okay? Not big fish, but they're catching fish. So they're enjoying it.
Well, that sounds wonderful, Jerry. I don't know, you probably won't share with us your secret spots, obviously, or what you use for bait, but it sounds like people really have a great day when they're with you. And they're out enjoying nature and they come back with a smile. So I think that's the most important thing, and what a great service you provide. So thank you for that, definitely. You know, if I'm ever on your boat, if I happen to be, you know, participating in the program, I'm just warning you now that I don't bait the hook and I don't touch the fish. So I don't know if you have any of those participants, but
definitely we do, because you know, my wife is a volunteer, and she volunteers as my first crewmate. She doesn't touch fish. She doesn't bait. Okay, she helps with getting the poles in the water. She helps getting the fish out of the water, because sometimes, especially on some of the special needs adults, some of them cannot move their hands. Okay, so a lot of times they're holding the rods, they feel it, but we have to help them bring the fish in. So that's all good. But I always tease her because now she's not touching them. But most of the crewmates, you know, crewmates are males and females. I mean, I'm not saying, but you know, basically it's a two-man. When you're on a boat with 10 people and you got 8 people fishing and you're in a spot, and realistically, you know, when summer gets warm, like late June, when you get into a fishing spot, you bait the hook and throw it in. If you're not catching a fish in 32 seconds, the bait's gone. You got to rebait it anyways. So there's plenty of work to be done when you're out there with these folks, but they truly enjoy it.
well, it sounds like you're a great captain, and your ship is a great ship to be on, or boat is a great boat to be on when you're fishing. So thank you. And thank you to everybody that was presenting today. Alyssa, Brent, Annie, I think you've all made us really, really thankful that when we look outside, it might be a little hot and humid, but there's no snow. And we have a good, 3 seasons or 3 months of getting out into the parks and really enjoying ourselves. So you've given us a lot of ideas and options for today. Before I say goodbye to you, we're not saying goodbye to each other, just we're relieving you of your presentation duties. Are there any other questions or comments for them? And once again, like I said, this presentation will be available on video and also PowerPoint, and maybe Jean has taken a few notes. So you should be able to recap if you missed anything. So thank you so much. So this is the time of our meeting together, that if you have any announcements, any events, anything you'd like to let the network know about, now is your time.
Bethany, this is Jane Wiley. Just to remind people of the second Harvest Food donation giveaway. at Friendship Church, which is just about a mile south of Prior Lake on 13. It's before all the road closures, so you can get there from the north. It's from 5:30 to 7:30, and the person just needs to bring ID currently where they live, and they get about 2 boxes of groceries for free.
That's wonderful, Jane. Thank you for letting us know about that. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there needing that right now. So thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, Bethany. This is Rocky with Scott County Public Health. I just wanted to let everyone know our family health team is just about ready to start recruiting and enrolling for our new Parents as Teachers program. So we're going to be focusing on 3 to 5-year-olds primarily, trying to help catch them up a little bit before that kindergarten start. And then also our ACEs work group is looking to expand our presentation pool. So we have some presenters that are in the process of getting certified and are looking for some opportunities to kind of smaller groups of kind of open patient recipients of that adverse childhood experience presentation material as we get our kind of practice in with that, because it is about a 2-hour presentation. So it's kind of heavy on the curriculum, and our presenters are just looking for some opportunities to kind of practice that with our more leadership in the community, and then being able to then disperse that out to the broader community as well once we get that certification. So if anyone has any kind of groups that may be interested in that material and kind of open to us practicing a little bit, giving that to them, or once we're certified, want more of a bigger presentation when everyone's comfortable with the material, we would also be able and open to doing that later this year.
Thank you,
And
Rocky.
you can email me. I will put my email in the email if anyone has any questions or suggestions.
Perfect. I was just going to suggest, why don't you put your contact information in the chat? And then also, if you have any flyers or any anything written up, send it to us. And we will also send it out with our community updates and needs. So, all right. Well, if there's nobody else.
I have something to say.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Hi, I'm Bailey. I'm with the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community. And next week we have a food distribution. It's open to everyone in the community, outside of community. There's no limitations. And it's from 4 to 5:30 on May 20th. And we also are doing it June 17th and July 15th. And it's in the Dakota Ice Arena parking lot. And it's just a drive up, pop open your trunk and they put it all in your trunk for you. So you get a lot of food.
Thank you, Bailey. And once again, if you want to put your information, just your email, whatever you'd like in the chat. And once again, if we have some information, we can send that out also later on. So is there anybody else before I share some fish stuff?
I have one, but it's more for everybody's dog. We're doing a Bark in the Park, which is like a crime prevention awareness for people out with their dogs enjoying nature. It's going to be at Lions Park in Shakopee, and it's this Saturday from 10 to noon.
That sounds like a great place to be with our dogs for sure.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that. Hopefully the weather will be cooperating and, you know, everybody will be enjoying the park and their dogs together. So thank you. All right, then I am going to give some fish updates. A second Thursday program for next month. We're going to try to meet in person again. And we'll be doing that at the Shakopee Police Department. And the program will be focusing on cannabis and the current medical cannabis legislation, proposed recreational cannabis legislation. And we'll be focusing on the impacts and any questions and any concerns or any topics people might have about that. So we hope that you will enjoy it. We'll enjoy being together. And once again, that will be at the Shakopee Police Department, June 9th from 9:30 to 11. And then I know you're all dying to know who won our little fundraiser, the pineapple pizza event. And pineapple won 57 to 43%. So thank you for everybody who participated. It was an amazing fundraiser. We had a couple of participants that are with us now that submitted amazing, really impactful, thoughtful videos. Commissioner Beer was one of those. Thank you so much. For everybody else too that submitted those videos. It was really fun to watch, really fun to listen to. And so Pineapple is alive and well in Scott County. And we are looking forward to the next event like this and finding out your opinions on things. So thank you so much for that. And we are also hiring. We are looking for an administrative assistant / program director. So if you are looking for a great place to be impactful every day in the Scott County community, you want to help people and help them have their needs met, please contact us and we can give you more information about what we're looking for. So with that, if there's nothing else anybody would like to add, I'm going to say stay cool, have a great day, and we'll see you back in June. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.